Alright guys, the second game is live. Starting to the top left of Frost, we have the Ukrainian player. It is Dimaga with a 1-0 lead in the series here. Was able to win this game against Yoda on a habitation station. Actually a pretty impressive one. And yeah, that was pretty cool. So the one thing that really amazed me about the last game was that Dimaga was in a position where he could really just switch into simply 50 Mutalisks. That was pretty crazy. And I did not really expect that, to be quite honest with you. I was a little bit afraid for him, to be quite frank, since I always feel a little bit weird when a Zerg player overdrones too much. And it is of course great if you can really pull it off, because you have such an incredible economy. But at the same time it's very dangerous, since your opponent might move out and you fight with a lot less army supply. So every single time I see a Zerg going up against 90 or more than 90 drones, I feel a little bit like, yeah, works out if you transition out of that quickly enough so that you can max out again. But for Dimaga it worked like a charm. The Ultralisk's attack didn't really do a whole lot for him. He lost a lot of resources in that, but since he took the entire map and basically took every single position, every single base, and just got massive amounts of money, he could go for a Mutalisk transition that I so far have, I think, not seen. 50 Mutalisks in a single flock, and then he just moved in and took everything apart. And in case that you are not absolutely familiar with how Mutalisks work and why he moved the Mutalisks like he did, let me just quickly explain this to you. Thors do a little bit of area effect damage. So if you cluster your Mutalisks up, you get the full damage dealt to all of your Mutalisks, and they just disappear within seconds. And that happens especially if you right click with your Mutalisk on a single target, because your Mutalisks will automatically clump up in a small clump, and that will happen. On the other hand, if you magic box Thors, or again in general the army that you're attacking, the Thors can't do all the damage. And magic boxing basically means you have your Mutalisk army and you right click somewhere because you want to move. You don't click on a target, but you're on a spot. When your Mutalisks fan out a little bit, and it's more like a cloud. So if you see an army, you clicked in an empty spot in the middle of that army or behind that army, and when the Mutalisks just fly over the entire army, you just press the stop button, and then the Mutalisks just stay there and auto attack targets without clustering up. You can actually put that even to an extent where you then right click on a target when your Mutalisks are in position. All of the Mutalisks immediately start to shoot at the target, and you press the stop button again, and you just switch between the two of them, and then you target single targets down, so that you can ensure that the Mutalisks are not all attacking different ones. But in this scenario it didn't really matter too much, since the entire army consisted of a few Vikings. We had nearly no point defense drones available anymore to the Terran player, because he just didn't have the energy anymore. So it worked out so absolutely beautifully well. It was pretty crazy. Well, right now in this game, on the other hand, we have both of them starting at the top of the map. Dimaga already spotting his opponent here. Gonna lose that Overlord though. The Overlord a little bit too far out, and Yoda was hunting that down right from the beginning. With the second Marine now in the main base, popping out there out of the barracks, the Overlord is gonna die. But what he sees is that we have a bit of a different opening for his opponent. We have already a command center on the low ground right now. We did not see Reapers in this game. We have just normal Marines right out this bat. We have a factory already produced, and Dimaga, starting with the hatch first here, is looking at a no gas build where he relies on the 4 queens once again. So kind of the same strategy that he had in the last game, at least at the beginning here, whereas Yoda is switching things off a little bit, switching things up a little bit. We have the command center now playing, and with the third command center he will have a very good economy. Leaves himself a little bit open in the early game, which you can start to counteract a bit with potential siege tank. If you see that your opponent has a roach run, it makes a lot of sense if you just want to be super safe. But we have also for Dimaga now the third base being taken, and it's gonna be a pretty decent game between the two of them. Dimaga already in a 1-0 lead, which is pretty awesome for him, of course. Against the Korean player he was not very confident going up against him, and Yoda, participating in this one qualifier, has a single shot at qualifying for the Challenger League in Europe for WCS. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool to see if he can edge out a second win. It would be amazing, to be honest with you. Taking a win over Yoda would be a great start for him into the tournament, because so far in the last few qualifiers he was a bit unlucky with that. The Hellions are trying to skirt the edges of the creep here a little bit to maybe take down a creep tumor, but Yoda is already playing for the late game. He has double engineering base started here, so he wants to not only get that extra economy with the third orbital command, but still head into an early upgrade so that he can get that +3/+3 out that makes Terran players so dangerous against Zergs. It depends all a lot on the composition that Dimaga is going to use. And Dimaga's style, especially in the last game, was one where he really tries to take control of the map. And I like the way that he expanded all over the map, because it gives you additional income, and it makes you, of course, a little bit vulnerable against the bio player, since drop strips are going to be very annoying. Those satellite bases are very difficult to protect, but it's something that Dimaga did in the past and that he can do again. So if he is able to establish himself such a strong position on the map, he could definitely just head into a late game, get his own hive tech out, the 3/3 upgrades, and we might be in for quite the treat on a big map like Frost. So looking to the top, we already have 4 additional gases being taken. We have the layer tech started, double upgrades in the 2 evolution chambers that we have there, and Zerglings just trying to deal with the Hellions here, but they do not have speed yet, and that is an advantage that those Hellions are gonna take, and the Lings are already gone. So a little bit of an unfortunate timing for Dimaga here. With the speed upgrade, it would have been a completely different fight, but without it, he just can't take those Hellions down. On creep, it would have been an easy feat for him to just surround those Hellions with speed, but yeah, speed did finish a few seconds later, and now he had to sacrifice additional lava for Zerglings that he doesn't really want to build. A couple of Overlords are still on the map here, and those Overlords are going to be quite useful against drop play later on. So if you have them on those edges, then you can see drop ships that the Terran player is trying to sneak in. There's one at the top already, so that is going to help, of course, Dimaga quite a bit. And talking about Overlords and potential drop play scouting, we have the starport now as good as ready. Might even see a single Viking here to take those Overlords down, but at the moment it looks like he wants to head into his medivacs immediately, so the Overlords will be safe for now, not going to be taken out right away. And for Dimaga, we have now even a 4th base already taken, or he is about to take it. Heading into the Spire again, very normal composition, speed upgrade for the Overlords here, giving him a bit more wiggle room if he's up against Widow Mines. And for Yoda, we have 3 bases. So 3 base economy versus 3 base economy, with the 4th coming up for Dimaga. The tech that we see for Yoda is this time way more bio heavy than it was in the last game, where Yoda chose to go for a mech strategy. Didn't really work out for him. But Dimaga is actually taking the lead in the upgrades here, going into the +2/+2 before Yoda does. A lot of units here on the map already, though, on the other hand. Dimaga losing his creep tumors, maybe even the queens here, but the Zerglings are now running in. Banelings are there as well, trying to cut the path of retreat off. Nice job, well done here. Really good job so far by Dimaga, taking down a lot of these units. A quick pickup with a few of the medivacs, but still, that was well done by Dimaga, forcing his opponent back, and immediately the queens going all the way to the front, placing down those creep tumors again. Good job by Dimaga, making sure that creep won't reseed that quickly, or won't reseed at all. So, well done so far. As long as he can withstand the aggression of his opponent, he will be able to capitalize on the extra bases that he builds. An infestation pit would be great for him, just to make sure that he has the hive tech so that he can go into +3/+3. That is the dangerous part of any Terran versus Zerg where the Terran player goes bio. When you are up against 3/3 upgrades and you are yourself only at +2/+2. Mutalisks are now being built. The dropship is not going to do anything right over here. Is for now heading back and already quite damaged. But Dimaga is exposing his base over here a little bit, and these are all those satellite bases that we talked about earlier. It's a big problem for you if you need to just run across the entire map to defend those. We do not see spying crawlers or anything else being built there, and I guess that puts an end to that hatch, since Yoda has the exact timing that he needs. Those few Zerglings that are running in, they are not going to be enough, and this base is going to be dead. Mutalisks are moving in on the other hand, and this entire army that we see for Yoda is going to die. The few medivacs are probably gonna die as well, at least 2 of them. The 3rd might just be saved by the reinforcements that are coming in, and actually 2 of them will be saved. Oh my god, Dimaga! Oh my god! Oh, that hurts. Yeah, that should not have happened. Losing this many Mutalisks, I think there was 5, just because he chased down a few medivacs, that's not a good thing. That's also pretty obvious that the Terran player would send units across the map to save those. I think Dimaga was at this point in the main base macroing probably and didn't really pay attention to the Mutalisk. Should have though. He's going into a hive on the other hand, so he has already a hive started. He snuck the infestation pit in. unnoticed by us, and is expanding twice again. Trying to just expand here once more. So let's see how he's going to work with that. The +3/+3 for the Terran player has been started, and Yoda is starting to take a little bit of a lead here. But he's still on 3 bases. He doesn't take a 4th just yet. He's trying to end this on 3 bases. Dimaga is still in a good supply, has a good amount of supply. Let me have a quick look at the drone count. 86 versus 67. That's absolutely okay. A few units trying to just go maybe to town on that base over here. The problem is that the Marine positioned on the bridge scouted for Yoda what was going on, and we have a drop in the main base starting to snipe the tech structures, whereas another drop is heading towards that 3rd base taking down drones. So nice multitasking here by Yoda, doing a great job. And Dimaga is really struggling against this. He's trying to attack over here, but this is not going to work since Yoda is defending immediately. Not even a single supply depot lost. The base not taken out, but so many harvesters being killed. The guys up there already killed the spawning pool, the baneling nest. And harvesters killed in total now 15. So Dimaga really starting to lose his edge on the game. He lost the spawning pool, or did he? No, he is building another spawning pool. Not quite sure why. Maybe he thinks he lost the spawning pool, but he indeed just lost his baneling nest, and he lost the spire. So that's a problem. That's a huge problem, actually. And I think this spawning pool is actually a mistake. I don't know. I think you wanted maybe to rebuild the baneling nest or the spire and just misclick. But right now it doesn't look like it's going to matter anyways, because Yoda is about to end this game. Maybe not quite there yet, but the advantage that Yoda has now is absolutely amazing. Taking down tech structures, having drops everywhere, the multitasking is just absolutely incredible for him. He's sending drops out again, and Dimaga is deciding to move in. A little bit of a desperation move as well, but he has to. He's 40 supply down already, and he's really able to just push Yoda back a little bit, but the reinforcements are going to be an issue, and there are still 2 dropships moving in, and another one already in the main base. The multitasking of Yoda is just too much for Dimaga to handle right now, and 3-3 isn't even done just yet. So even more units go down, the queens are being attacked, the base over here is not going to make it. I don't see Dimaga sending anything down there. Both queens died in the main base before the Mutalisks arrived to save the day, and another dropship is just trying to take down additional drones at that 4th base that he has. So Yoda really go everywhere on the map right now, doing damage, forcing creep back, killing a couple of units, dashing in with a few Marines, doing the damage that he needs to do. Most of those Widow Mines still in cooldown, so that's a problem for Yoda. But his 3-3 is now done, and Dimaga is still some time away from getting his own last set of upgrades out there. So the advantage in Yoda's favor is now just going to be multiplied. We have 1 base already killed, another one being attacked, the Natural also being assailed by a few Marines, taking down the Queens, taking down the Harvesters, and Dimaga is completely falling off here. 80 army supply against 117, and now we have the entire Bio army just in position. We have even Thors in here, the Overlords moving in, but that's not going to be any kind of drops at the front. The Thors taking their damage, a couple of Battlenet spikes delaying the inevitable. Dimaga losing the entire army, losing his bases as well. Yoda just absolutely cranking up the heat in game number 2, and Dimaga will have to fight in game 3 for his survival in WCS, where Yoda of course will be very, very eager to edge out another victory and to advance to the next round of the WCS qualifier.